everybody, I'm Phil, just me today, because it's a bit of a nerdy one. Scotch whisky auctions, well, any whisky auction for that matter, but Scotch whisky auctions. I originally picked Scotch whisky auctions as the place I would do a bit of shopping because they were giving sort of unofficial 6-month storage for free. They've recently changed that, so if you do buy something now, you pay a 3% storage fee, which does mean you can keep it indefinitely and sell it back if you want to. Anyway, so that has changed the pricing a bit, plus, of course, 25% tariffs and coming into the US. And if you buy a bottle in the UK, it's typically 70 cents a litre, or 700 ml. In the US, we get 750 ml. And there's a 10% fee. So what's all this add up to? Quite a lot. At the moment, you can almost double whatever you see in pounds to get the US price. But set that aside for a minute. What I actually want to look at is the idea of, actually, Whiskey Jason said this the other day. I think he called it whiskey inflation or the whiskey inflation index or something like that. We all know that prices have been going up. And I thought, how much have they actually gone up since, say, 5 years ago, 2015? And so, you know, you can go and look at all the previous auctions. I'll put this on the screen. You can go and see all the previous auctions and look and see what the winning prices are. And so I did a bit of fact gathering or data gathering manually, unfortunately. And it picked out these bottles plus a few others to see what they are selling for now compared to what they were in 2015 and how the prices have gone up. So, okay, here we go. These are all the prices I've gathered going back to auction number 45. And so it's a monthly auction. And the last one was 106. And as of this video, 107 will be active. So you can go and have a look for yourself what the current prices are. Also look how many bottles there were in the first auction, only 1,800. So the ones that I tracked, just picked at random really. Knockando and Ardbeg 20-something, 23-year-old. Dark Cove, committee release, Dark Cove, Balblair. Anyway, you'll see. You can see if I scrub through them. There's about, what, 15 or something? If I can get it all to fit on the screen. So the first, also we'll have a little talk about how much I paid for things if indeed we own the bottle. But here's the first chart, and this is how many bottles have been in the auction, starting at about 2,000, and now we're, you know, the trend line is telling us it's about 8,000. So definitely there's been an increase in bottle activity, hasn't there? But there was a peak. When was that? Looks like April 19. But there was a peak all the way up here in. Maybe I could use my pencil. I can draw. This peak up here was over 10,000 bottles that came in, which is pretty amazing. So how has a Knock 24 been doing? This is pretty well known as the best value 24-year-old at the moment, I think. Maybe some independent bottles, but this has an inflation rate of about 2%. It really hasn't gone up much at all. £100 back. Well, actually, no, I don't even have, let's see. I have it from 2016. But the prices have been as low as 90 and a few outliers up at 140. But if you look on average, it's just been going up at this very slight rate. And not a big popular bottle, is it? Not too many actually on sale. I bought this one in the US at the equivalent of about £125 if I reverse engineer the bottle size and all of those things that we talked about earlier. So there you go. Knock 24, not really gone up. Now this surprised me. Ardbeg 20-something, the 23-year-old, has actually been going down in price. Now it hasn't been hasn't been on sale for that long. First ones in the auction were 2017, but they were up in the 400 plus range. And of course, yes, there are always some outliers, with the range going from 340 to 470 this time. But it has been dropping down. The trend line is minus 6%. So if you wait long enough, it might become affordable. Not so much for the Ardbeg Dark Cove here, though. I'll pull the bottle out so you can see it. There's a knock at the front. Ardbeg Dark Cove. Now, I don't have the committee release, except I have this little sampler for when we do eventually blind taste. But the two here, I've put them both together. We paid the equivalent of about 90 for the non-committee release version. And you can see these prices have been going up pretty much in sync with each other at about a 15% annual return. Annual increase. I said it like it was an investment. With the committee release starting at around 150, and these days it's up, at around 250. All right, moving on. What's next? Balblair, 1990. Don't have that one. Actually, I do have it, but it's in Scotland. Increase of about 25% per year. So this has been a popular bottle and has kept fairly... There's been a couple of outliers, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Bruichladdich Black Art 4.1. Talk about outliers. Look at this. In the last auction, a bottle sold for 420, when really the average has been at about 200. Now we're into it for somewhere around 175-ish, so we happen to pick up a couple of low ones here, which is good. But even early on, it was up as high as 250, look. And so it's a little scattered, but again, the trend is up. And in this case, probably about 15%, unless you take this one into account, in which case it's up a lot more. So here's something that I noticed when I was going over the data. With the Black Art, at least, you would have a one-off, like a single bottle would be in the auction, and it would sell for some high price, 420, that is high. But let's say it's at 250 or something. And I guess a lot of people would see the price action and get excited and then put all their bottles in for the next auction. And then you might find that there's 6 or 7 on sale the following month after a high price. And then you would end up getting, a drop and a chance to pick up something cheaper. So that's something to look out for. If you see a one-off bottle selling at a high price, maybe come back the next month and you might get a bargain. Let's go a bit faster. GlenDronach, the revival, the old style, a very steady increase. There's one crazy one. Look at that. 200 way out there. Don't know what happened that week, but on average, it's been going up at about 25% per year. All right, this is, Glenfarclas 105. Don't have it, do I? It's in the auction, waiting to be picked up. Another one that has been going down in price. This is the cask strength, the 105 proof, 22-year-old. And although there's been an outlier, as there always is, in general, this has been dropping at 20% per year. So I thought, that's a good one to buy. So I bought one. Actually, we got it at 130, so I think I'm the lowest buyer for that one. Hibiki 21. I had to make the chart bigger because it had gone up so much. Look, back 5 years ago, even in the auction, it was around 180, 200 pounds. Probably said dollars a few times when I meant pounds. Sorry about that. Pounds. And now we're up to the 570 pounds. So that has been going up at a steady 30% per year. That's a good return if you'd invested your life savings in Hibiki 21. Highland Park 15, on the other hand, pretty flat. 4% increase. What about a more fancy Highland Park? You would expect Highland Park 21 to maybe be going up more, and it is at about 10% per year. And a few outliers again. There's always the outliers. Look, even recently you could have bought it from 1 month to the next, as high as £400 or as low as £250. I happen to be in the 280 camp, which might have been that one there. So what about... Oh, where's my where's my Highland Park 21? I got it wrong. I was showing you Highland Park 21 bottle. That was supposed to be for Highland Park 25. I thought I'd done them both. All right, Highland Park 25 is going up at 10% rate. I'll put it over here with the other Highland Parks. But actually not going up as much as you would think, probably because there's a steady supply, unlike Hibiki 21, where there isn't any supply. Okay, Laphroaig 18. 15%, steadily going up year after year. From, down in the 50 range. There's an outlier, 170. But we actually picked this one up down in one of these, so feeling good about that, and around the £85 mark. Laphroaig 27. I do not have one here. So a premium bottle, like the Ardbeg 20-something, has actually been dropping in price. So if you had bought Ardbeg 27, even just in, 2 years ago, you might have been paying above 400. But I put a bid on one for 260 and it came in. Wow. Longmorn 16, the green bottle. This doesn't look that dramatic on the chart, but that's actually been steadily inflating at about 35% per year. Although, to be fair, if you look at the first years, it's more flat here, and it's been kicked up a bit more recently now that they're probably starting to run dry a bit. But again, 190 as the outlier. I don't know really what happened here. Look, bit of hype going up, and then no, maybe not. Back down to somewhat normal levels. So it's been somewhat flat at around the £90 mark. I've been saying dollars again. Octomore 6.3. Hang on, I think I've missed Old Pulteney. Maybe that one's next. Octomore 6.3 is one of those ones which, despite radical differences from 380 all the way down to 140, the average or the trend is actually flat. So just buy it on the right day. Okay, there's Old Pulteney 17. Another one which has only been ticking up at 5% per year. And you could have paid 110 or 55, but right now it's probably at about 75 or 80 kind of prices. On to the Springbanks. Local Barley 16. This is in the sort of the Hibiki 21 land of pricing, I think. Hasn't been out for that long, but it was around 135 back in November 2016, and it has been going up at a 30% per year rate, and is currently selling as high as £380, but it's somewhere around the 300 mark right now. And the last one we have, Springbank 21. Now I know that each year the Springbank 21, the 46% version, is pretty different. It could be rum, port, finishes, mixed, also all kinds of different things. So there's a little bit of variation in the price based on what people like, but all these prices relate to the 46% version. It's only been going up at 6% per year. That surprised me. I thought the Springbank 21 would have been going up a lot more, but it really hasn't. And it's been, it was under 150 5 years ago, and now it has touched 200 a couple of times, but really it's in about the 170 range, and that's where we are overall. If you look at all of them on one graph, you can't make any sense of it, let's be honest. But you can see enough trend lines which are going up that, okay, there's a couple of downers, but not really. I'm going to guess that the average percentage gain over the last 5 years has been somewhere between 10% to 15%, maybe. Somewhere in that range across the board, which is a lot higher than inflation. And just today in Total Wine, I noticed that Springbank 10 was now 65 plus taxes, so $70. And I'm pretty sure we only paid, 50 or 55 last year for that. So that's more like a 20% gain. So maybe we are seeing the tariffs showing up now. Have a look at Scotch whisky auctions, the 107th auction. Let's see where we are on some of these prices. And I'm very curious to see what Black Art comes in at. Is it going to go higher than 400? Or are there suddenly going to be 10 of them and the price will be back down at 200? Well, have a look. Maybe you get lucky. Oh, this bottle's open and I've never tried it. Oh.